Hey guys, and welcome to my channel and this video. This one is first, I believe, from the winter series this year, and I decided to start them off with the Christmas cards. And I will be using these postcards from Etchr. They're cold pressed, and also I will be using this paper Academia from Fabriano. This one is a little bit thinner paper, 94 pounds. And also these are just three papers that are a little bit thicker. They could be printing paper, they could be a school watercolor paper. Them I just folded, and I will be using it for cards later on. Also, I will be using these watercolors from Dainayw. I will be using some of my watercolors and some new watercolors from Pastel series. And I am starting off with just a clean water, tapping in onto two of my cards, because I will start first with the two and later on with the third. I will do that one a little bit different. So I splattered some clean water, and on top a little bit of the yellow, and now with the clean water just on top, tapping on top, I'm just spreading that yellow, and also picked up a little bit of the blue. I believe this one is called Midnight Blue from Dainayw, and just tapping in on top, and then with my brush spreading that paint all around. A little bit of clean water to move the paint. Again, some yellow with a smaller brush. I do want my splatters to be a little bit smaller, a little bit less watered down, so I took a little bit smaller brush. And now with the violet, I'm just adding it on the edges here and there. This is something like a galaxy painting, so something similar like that. I do paint my galaxies, and a little bit of the yellow, and we are done with the first background. For the second one, I've mixed in some green, darker green and a lighter green, actually yellow, to create this sub green, and added that on my card. And you can see I'm not painting one even wash, but with the tip of my brush I'm just spreading paint here and there, leaving it to actually do the dry brushing and just spread as it likes. Right now I took a little bit of the table salt. This is just a regular table salt, and I'm just sprinkling onto my first card, moving those two away to dry. And while they are drying, I picked up that larger paper from Fabriano, and now I'm just adding just a violet color. You can see that I've had it one square in a violet, a little bit of the splatters in violet, and a little bit splatters with the clean water, putting it on the side to dry. Now moving on to drawing my socks and little boots. I'm not sure those are socks or little boots. And you can see I'm just drawing one faced on the left, one faced on the right, and one little bit smaller one. Just make sure that they fit onto your card that you're gonna do. That's the most important thing. You can do more of them or less, that's up to you. And also the colors are completely up to you. I'm using some red for the first one. And actually I was painting it inside the borders, but that's not something you have to do. Later on we will cut that, so you can just go all the way outside. You don't have to be careful to stay within the lines you drew for your sketch. Just adding some textures to that first one. For the second one, I decided to do line stripes, and in green and red color, all the Christmas colors. Again, you can use any color you like, of course. Third one, painted in green and yellow. Just moving the paint around to create textures. For the upper part of that little sock, I've used a little bit of the grayish color mixed in from ultramarine and dark brown, just to make it look like there is that little furry part of the sock. And now leaving this to dry, and while that dries, I've just cut 1/4 of the paper from Fabriano and just adding a little bit of the blue on one side, and I will be adding a lighter brown on the other side, and then on top a little bit darker brown. This should look like something like I'm not sure, really, a wooden texture or a brick texture. Well, just make any texture you like. A little bit of the splatters with brown, and also I will add just the clean water splatters with clean water on top. This one is also now finished and putting it aside to dry. Right now I have picked up one of those postcards from Etchr that I will be using for the cards, and I'm just doing my sketch for the snowman. And first I drew that arch. That's actually going to be arch for the doorway or something like that. That is later on I decided to do a brick wall. I was thinking to make it like a wooden, something like a doors or something like that, but at the end I decided to make it brick. So on that left side we're gonna add that brick part, and on the right side there will be a little snowman peeking through. So just adding his head, his body, and his, I guess, a nose and scarf. I will put in a hat, and you can draw in your snowman just as you like. Your snowman doesn't have to look the same as mine. You can make it, you can draw it just as you like. And I'm sorry, I know the sketch is very, very light. Even though this pencil is a little bit darker, it's barely visible, but I think you can get the picture. Now I'm just adding on top a little bit of ink pen. These are ink pens from Etchr set, and this is number 02, I believe. And just doing the edges, the lines. And you can see that I do want my lines to be a little bit more softer. So I'm not just drawing one very harsh, clean line, but I do want them to be quite soft and without harsh edges. So I'm just making them look a little bit sketchy. Now with this grayish color, again mixed in from ultramarine and dark brown, I'm painting in the snowman, and as you can see, his head turned out to be too dark, and last year I drew a Smurf and not a really snowman painted. So I decided this year, well, I do want to do a snowman. I don't want my snowman to look like a Smurf. So I picked up a little bit of that blue to make it quite light. A little bit of orange for his nose, and his eye I painted in black. This is one little happy snowman. A little bit of the green for his scarf, and also his head. This is something like a sap green. And we're done with that for now. Now I just checked if that square, my violet square, is dry, and I folded my paper. Unfortunately, this paper is again too thick. I did not use just regular printing paper, and I don't even advise you to use that. But maybe if you use a school paper, it will be a little bit thinner than this one. And I just folded into two times to have 4 pages, and then just cutting a little star. If you fold it in more, you will get 2 stars. If you double it, you will get 2 stars, and you will actually be able to put one on top of another. I did not have more violet, so I did not do that. I put just 1 layer, but if it would have those 8 spikes, it would, I believe, look maybe a little bit more nicer. But at the end it turned out just fine. So now cutting also all those socks, and with ink pen I'm just going all around the edges, again not making straight harsh lines, but broken lines, sketchy lines. And you can embellish your socks just the way you like. Or slippers. Yeah, that could be also slippers. A little bit of splatters with white gouache, of course, why not? And just finishing them off with a few details. When finished with them, I have picked up my snowman card and that door, or maybe a brick wall, and just made the arch fit with my card, traced it, just used a window to trace that line onto just regular printing paper, and then I've traced it onto my watercolor paper where my watercolors are and glue it on top, looking like that snowman is peeking behind the wall. Just using this as a regular school glue, I'm using that to glue my card. And a little bit more details with ink pen. His hands and his nose, I do want it to look like it is also peeking through the doors, and he's holding the brick wall with his hand, so I drew it on top. A little bit of the splatters with white gouache, and at the end I decided to move that brick wall also a little bit upwards. My card was too short, that upper part, so I wanted to add a little bit of brown on top. Some shadows behind my snowman with gray. And a little bit more of the details on the snowman. Just look if you need those details. If not, you don't have to add them. A little bit of white gouache splatters, a little bit of gray splatters on the white part so they can be visible. Now I'm done with that one. Moving on to my slippers, socks, or whatever they are. And again, doing some details with ink pen scribbles to make it look like they are hanging on a string. Also gluing them with just this regular school glue. But if your paper is thick, you want to make sure that that glue will stick. It is good enough to stick, and for your, well, parts of the cards not to unglue. A little bit more of the details again with ink pen embellishments. As I said, you can do as much as you like. Some splatters with white gouache to make it a wintry. And the last one for that star, I'm just again doing a little bit of ink pen work on top of it. Edges and in the center part around those little holes. And also with this darker violet this time, doing a little bit more of the details, some white gouache, and I will glue it also on top of my card. And do a little bit more of the ink on the card around that star. I took also a little bit of yellow. This is a shiny yellow for my shiny set, to make it shine a little bit more and to stand out, just to add a little bit more of the yellowish, and also added some brown around that star because I wanted to match the other two cards because it was completely different than the other two, the colors and everything. So I wanted to add a little bit of the color that will just match it slightly to also other two cards. A little bit of splatters with black. I added those splatters again because I want to match all of those cards. The last one was looking completely out of the set, so I decided to add a little bit more of those splatters, just a touch of those black splatters to connect them all, and also do the edges with a brown, again to connect them all, to make them look like they're part of the set. So you can definitely use different colors for your star. Maybe make the background greenish, bluish, and the star maybe yellow, and that would probably make it look a little bit more in the set. So now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm adding a little bit more of the details to my wall, making it look like it is a brick wall. And with that, I'll be finishing off. These cards are also done. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had, well, enough of the cards for now, Christmas cards, and you are on top of your project. So I hope you like this video. If you do, please hit the like button and share it, comment. If you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. You can also join my channel. Click that join button next to the subscribe and maybe see what's offered and decide. Guys, thank you so much. So winter season is starting, Christmas season is starting. I am planning all that for December, you know, everything that I am planning for December. So stay with me and just let's have some winter fun. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.